Hello everyone, welcome back to Medical Grade Minis. This is Medical Grade Modeling episode 3. I am honestly pretty proud of myself for keeping up with everything and getting to an episode 3. So I suppose this is going to be the first time that I will ask for the YouTube pleasantries, so I'd really appreciate it. If you're watching, if you would like, comment, and subscribe on the video. And I hate having to do that, so now that we have that out of the way, just like to thank everyone for watching so far. Like to give a shout out to Daga Flocka Flame for being my first official commenter and who I assume is my first real subscriber. So big ups to you. Thank you very much for watching. Where we last left off, I painted an apothecary biologist, and I was trying to figure out what I wanted to do for my next video, and I have decided. If you've been paying attention to the background, you'll notice that a model is missing. For today's episode, I have decided to finish up that squad of Blade Guard. So we are going to paint a Blade Guard Ancient and 3 more Blade Guard. This is the box of Blade Guard that I bought. I built them up about a week ago. If you guys want to see the build process, just let me know, and I will start documenting the build process, but tried to keep the poses a little bit different. They do have the 3D Imperial Fists shoulder pads on them, and I wanted to make someone a little bit unique, so I gave this guy a dual power sword. So really happy with how the build came out, and we are going to paint them up per usual to round out a full 6-man Blade Guard squad. So, just like usual, first step in the process is have to put down some of my Vallejo Desert Sand texture paste on the base. Once again, these are not sponsored, Magnet Baron magnetized bases. And I will be back with you guys. We have them tacky glued down to the base, so once I get the texture paste on and I let it dry and then remove the models from the base, I will be back with you guys and we will continue documenting the painting process. So be back with you guys shortly. Alrighty, checking back in with you guys now, and I have gone and primed all of the models in my Vallejo German red-brown primer. And they are just finishing off drying right now, ready to be hit with my flat matte white spray can from Army Painter. And on the bases, I have my texture paste down. It has been primed with the German red brown, and then we have a coat of light rust from Vallejo down on them as well, waiting for that to dry before I go back in with my flat earth for a dry brushing, and then a light dry brushing of ice yellow. In the background, you do see just a little sneak peek as to probably the next episode. I'm going to get those Assault Centurions painted up and then probably get the Ballistas done and painted up for the project after that. But for right now, let's get back to focusing on these Blade Guard and the Blade Guard Ancient. So when I check back in with you, I will have white on all of the Blade Guard, and the bases will be done from a painting perspective and just be waiting for finished models, the matte varnish, and then some grass tufts. So I will check back in when the bases are painted and I have the coat of white on the models. Be back with you guys soon. Alrighty, checking back in with you guys now. And I have, it's a fairly windy day, so I got a couple facefuls of white spray paint, but nonetheless, we got all of the models spray painted in that flat matte white. I think I did a fairly good job with the spray painting on this one. I don't think I was too heavy-handed like I was during the first episode when some of the details on the other blade guard and some of the aggressors got a little bit muddled, because I think I put a little bit too much white paint on it, but I'm happy with that. The bases are all done as well. As a reminder, we put another layer of the flat earth down, and then a light color, light dry brushing of ice yellow, and then painted the rims with Corvus black. So next up, we're going to start painting some details with the black edge trim and all the other details, and then move on to yellow from there. So when I check back in with you guys, there should be some color on these models, so see you then. All right, everybody, just checking back in after I got all of the black down on the trim. I am overall fairly happy with how the black came out. I didn't mess up too much. There's a couple spots like that little spot on that helmet over there. There's a spot on the Ancient's backpack back here, but overall I'm very happy with how the black came out and how I was able to get it on without really spilling much on the rest of the models. So just because that was probably the most intensive of the color process, I will check back in with you guys when the rest of the colors are down on the models, right before we start putting some yellow down. So I will check back in with you guys in a little bit. All right, everyone, just checking in on the current progress a little bit. I have all of my base coats down except for the Wraithbone on the Aquillas, which I like to do after I put down my yellow. So everything here is just ready for some highlights, but first things first, I still have to fix up a few of the mistakes that I have made in putting down the base coats. So once everything is corrected, I will highlight everything and check back with you right before I put some yellow on the models. So I will catch you guys shortly. All right, everybody, checking back in, and these Blade Guard and the Blade Guard Ancient are all done with the highlights and everything, and I am ready to put on some yellow on the armors. I'm waiting until after I do the yellows to do the rocky bases, after I put them on the bases themselves, but overall, I am really happy with how the cloak came out with everything. Really happy with the Blade Guard Ancient. Put a little bit extra effort into making sure that his cloak was extra correct when I highlighted everything. So I am really happy with how everything turned out, including the power swords. I think they came out pretty good. I can't remember if I mentioned it in the first one, but for the cloaks, I did a layer of Abaddon Black first, then a layer of Eshin Grey, then a layer of, I don't have the bottle with me right now, but it is Administratum Grey, and then some final highlights with some Dawnstone to kind of give a, like, come on, focus, like a three-tone highlight pattern on all of the cloaks. So that's the same thing that I did on the original Blade Guard and the Gravis Captain. But yeah, everything is all ready now, so we are ready to put down our and in yellow, then some Uriel yellow, then some ice yellow from Viejo, and then finally top it off with some Imperial Fists. So when I come back, I will probably have all of the and in yellow on, and then the Ethereal and the Ice Yellow, just to check back in with you guys right before we put on the Imperial Fists and then stick everyone down to their bases. So I will check back in with you guys shortly. All right, everyone, checking back in with you one last time before the finished product. We have all of the highlighting layers down on the armor. We have the Yandin Yellow, the Uriel Yellow, and finally the Ice Yellow down. I've touched up a couple of mistakes. So what we have left to do is just put down the final layer of Imperial Fists, touch up the Wraithbone on the Bladeguard Ancient on his cloak, touch up the Wraithbone on the Aquillas of these three, put on the Magos Purple that I use to make the like maroonish red Aquillas. Takes about 3, sometimes 4 layers. Then touch up the helmets, put on the lenses, then do the rocks after I take them off the putty that I have them on, and just make sure that all of the feet are painted. And then we will glue them onto their bases and hit them with some that is Storm Shield matte varnish. Then we'll wait for them to dry, put down some grass tufts. So when I check back in with you guys, these models will be complete. So I will see you in probably an hour or two for me, and about 2 seconds for you guys. Welcome back, everyone. And all of the models are now painted. Just as a reminder, these are the 3 Blade Guard that I already painted as part of episode 1 of Medical Grade Modeling. And without further ado, here are the last 4 models that I have just painted up in this episode. I am very happy with how they came out. They look almost identical to how, let's get them a little bit in better lighting. I am very happy with how they came out, all things considered. They look very close and fit in nicely with the old models that I had, and I am overall very proud of them. Just ignore the glue that's still drying on the grass tufts. But I'm happy with how they came out. Very proud of myself. Kept the process consistent. Got nice shading on the cloaks. Nice detail on the white helmets. I'm very happy with how the power swords came out. Looks almost identical to the power swords on the old, or on the first set of 3, not the old ones. These are still new models to me, but on the first set. So I am very happy with how they came out, and now I have a full squad of Blade Guard with a Blade Guard Ancient. Now I just need a captain with Relic Shield to be able to field them in a full squad in the Emperor's Shield detachment, which is what I'm thinking that I want to field them in, kind of what I've been building up towards so far. I have, I believe, if my math serves me correctly, 710 points currently painted. And I think I have my next set of projects, which I'll have to drop 1 model, which unfortunately probably will be the Blade Guard Ancient. But I think for my first 1,000 points, the next units that I'm going to paint up are these Assault Centurions for 150 of the 300-ish points that I have remaining for a 1,000-point list. And this Ballistus Dreadnought, which you can see the other 2 weapons over there. I took the time to get the base painted up. We'll talk about that in the next episode, but I think that's going to be my next set of projects that you can look forward to. The Centurions will probably be episode 3 or 4, and then the Ballistas will probably be episode 5, but we'll see. Look forward to that. But yeah, overall, very happy with how the Blade Guard and the Ancient came out. And thank you very much for joining me. Hope you enjoyed watching the progress on these next set of models. And yeah, it'll probably be a little bit before I get my next video out. I have to go up to out of state for a rotation for school, and then I have to move down for residency. I did match, thankfully, about 13 hours away from where I currently live, so it may be a while before I can start putting out some other videos, but as you can tell from back there, we have plenty of stuff to work on when I can get painting again. So thank you very much for watching, and I hope you enjoyed this episode of Medical Grade Modeling. See you in the next one.